The Phillies are back, and we tried to warn you. Welcome back to another episode of Philly Sports Now, coming fresh off a sweep over the Toronto Blue Jays, winning Friday night 8-0, Saturday afternoon 3-2, and Sunday afternoon 11-4, and a big bounce back homestand for the Phillies, finishing off the homestand 5-1. But first, this team answers the call really well back at home after, obviously struggling on the road in Pittsburgh. This team comes back after everyone was panicking, except for us. We were trying to tell everyone, stay cool, calm, collected. It's baseball. It happens. And the Phillies do just what we said. Answer back. I thought they'd go 4-2. You win both series, but instead you get a sweep, even better. And just a tremendous series from the Phillies, offensive wise, pitching wise, just a true team effort, true team win, and this team gets the job done. First off, starting on Friday night, you get the 8-0 win. Ranger Suarez goes 7 scoreless innings, and the Phillies bats come alive big time. Saturday, you have Christopher Sanchez, 7 innings, 2 runs before Kirkering finishes the eighth inning. Strom gets the save. Kirkering gets the win as Max Kepler hit a late home run in the eighth inning. And then Sunday afternoon, the big blast, Nick Castellanos grand slam broke the game open, but Zach Wheeler goes 6 innings, gives up 1 earned run, 2 runs overall. Probably could have went out for the seventh, but the home run, put the game out of reach, basically blew the game open, and you didn't need to stretch Wheeler out there for another one. You're able to get the bullpen to come in and get the job done and close out the win. But a big series sweep for the Phillies. They continue to bounce back, continue to play well at home. It's never a problem, it seems like, for this team to play this well at home. And now you get set for a big week ahead of you. You got four in Miami, then you come back to Philadelphia for the big division rivalry series against the New York Mets. But we'll talk about that. We'll preview that series later here this week when we get Zach on. But starting off again, just a tremendous series for the Phillies overall. Shout out to some hitters. Brandon Marsh continues to bounce back, bring up his average. He's hitting 500 over his last 7 games. Alec Boehm continues to do well, hitting 357, hitting 320 over 357 in the last 7 games, hitting 320 over the last month. He continues to raise his average and get the job done. He has 2 home runs this week, both to left field. You like to see him elevating the ball pull side. Then you get Otto Kemp, the rookie, after a 0-6 start there to his major league career. He's figured it out. He goes 4 for 5 on Sunday afternoon, 3 runs scored, and his first career stolen base. So it really seems like Otto Kemp has figured it out, continues to hit the ball well. I know a lot of it has been all singles outside of a double, but his power will come. It just take a little bit. He's figuring things out, and it continues to improve. But just again, great series here for the Phillies overall. You like to see that from the bats. Again, an 8-run night, an 11-run night, and then from the pitching standpoint, you get a 0, you get 2, and then you get one with this afternoon with 4 runs, but only 3 of those earned. So, well, just this team. This team, obviously it continues to go through stretches. That's part of baseball. They'll get the stride again. I alluded to it on the last podcast after we recapped the Cubs series. It takes a little bit when you lose one of your best players, right? I get it's baseball. It's a little bit of an individual sport, obviously. It's not like basketball. You lose a shooter, you're missing all those points. But Harper, obviously being in the middle of the order, you have to move guys around. It takes guys a little bit to figure it out. And Bohm took a little bit to figure out, but now he's getting the job done there in the 3 spot. Again, 2 big home runs. He's had multiple RBI games in that series for the Phillies. For the Phillies there in that series. So again, Alec Boehm gets the job done. He has a big game on Sunday for the team. He hits a 2-run home run. He finishes with 3 RBIs, and his average again is up to 283. Max Kepler, I get it. He struggled, obviously. People wanted more. People want more from him. I want more from him. But he's helping out the team late in games. His home run the other day on Saturday was his third home run there late in the game for the Phillies this season. This one's to give the Phillies the lead. He's hitting 300 over his last 7 games, so maybe he's starting to figure some things out. And hopefully, this team, yeah, as a team, they're collectively turning the corner, putting that bad stretch behind them, and this Phillies team hopefully will continue to roll. Sorry, the big news around baseball, not necessarily the Phillies. As I just started recording this, the Red Sox traded Rafael Devers to the Giants. So, one of the best hitters in baseball is on the move. I know there's two we're not getting along, Devers and the Red Sox, but Well, that trade, yeah, big. That's big trade news around baseball. I did not expect it happening this early, this far out from the trade deadline. I could have seen it later, but the Red Sox coming off a sweep over the Yankees. But yeah, not sorry, not to get too distracted there. We're just that's big baseball news around the league. But no, you like to see what you saw from the bullpen as well in this series. You know, the one close game, you saw Kirkland come in, get the job done with a clean eighth inning. You saw Strom go with the ninth inning, get the save. I thought it was interesting. He went with Rob Thompson went with Strom over Jordan Romano there in the game. So I think that kind of might show a little bit there. Maybe closer role wise, he said it's because of the hitters coming up. He figured Toronto would use left-handed pitch hitters, so he wanted to keep those guys on the bench. But still interesting to note there. One-run game, you go to Strom over Romano. So it'll be interesting to see how that continues to play out. I think they like Kirkring in the high leverage situations. He's starting to come in and do a good job there in the seventh or eighth inning with runners on base. He's going to be a really, really high leverage guy, and you're going to save Strom and Romano there for the save situations. So this team gets again. Kyle Schwarber, slow start to June. He started to figure things out. He goes 2 for 3 today. He had two big home runs throughout this week. He had an RBI single in this game. So Schwarber starting to turn around. See the Schwarber we were used to seeing this beginning of the year and into June. So hopefully he's turned the corner a little bit. But this team's coming back. This team is back, and excited for what's in store this week ahead of us. As again, for Miami, three against the Mets. But overall, this team has turned the corner. They're hitting the ball well again. I think the most impressive thing from this team is I like their at bats. And it's not when they went through that tough stretch, you saw a lot of first pitch chasing, first pitch swinging, trying to just get through the at bat. They didn't want to work in at bat. Now you're starting to see this team work at bats again. I know it's not showing hits wise. Bryson Stott, I mean, again, he ends Sunday's game with 0 hits. But the amount of pitches he was seeing, I mean, he was working, fouling pitches off and stuff, and he hasn't turned the corner. I like the contact you're seeing from him. He just, I think he's still a step away from turning the corner again, getting where some of these other guys are at. So I think Stott's a week or two away from, finding his groove and turning his season around, getting back to the Bryson Stott we're used to seeing before he's gone on the stretch. But he's one that this team needs to get hot. But the one thing I do like about Stott too is when he's struggling at the plate, he doesn't let it affect his defense. He's still one of the best defending second basemen in the league. That's why he was a Gold Glove finalist last year. He continues to make plays this year. So I'm excited to see going forward if he can turn around that plate approach. But again, if he's able to keep his defense, he'll sacrifice a little bit of offense because the second base spot is important. So this team's clicking again, and I think you got obviously Harper and Aaron Nola still out. Unfortunately, it sounds like Nola had a bigger setback. He's not going to be back at least till after the All-Star break now. So it's a shame to see that continue to happen. Harper, we haven't really got much of an update. They say he's doing better, but I mean, if you're not playing the game every day, of course it's going to start to feel better because you're not swinging a bat with a bad wrist or a bad arm as well. So I mean, take that for what you want. We'll see how it continues to progress with Harper. Hopefully we get a true update here shortly, maybe a new series against Miami. We'll get a fresh update for Harper. But again, we don't really know much on that front. But if this team starts to click and keep winning, you won't need to rush Harper back as fast. You can let him continue to progress and get better because you need him obviously as healthy as can be, especially as we get into the second half of the season. But overall, again, big series for the Phillies. Two good wins this week. Everyone was saying when the Phillies got hot against the Rockies and some of those other teams, it was, it's because they're playing bad teams, playing bad teams. And then, people wanted to see what they did when they faced good teams. Well, they answered it this week, right? You face two teams above 500. You face a team that's first place in the National League Central. You get a series win against the Cubs to win the season series, and then you come back and you face a Toronto Blue Jays team who's over 500. They were 38 and 30 coming into the series, sitting in second place in the American League East, and you sweep them to turn around and win that season series after dropping the series to Toronto. Now you win another season series against a very good ball club. And I think what impressed me the most this weekend was the pitching. You face a really good Blue Jays offense. The pitchers aren't as strong as they're hitting, in my opinion. So it's good to see the bats come alive and click. And it's funny, the offense struggled the most against the worst pitcher. The two pitchers, the pitcher at Gosman on Friday and Barros on Sunday here today. Those two pitchers are solid pitchers. Francis on Saturday was the one I thought this team would hit and hit around a little bit like they did in Toronto, but he made the adjustments to face this Phillies offense and ended well with it. But again, the most impressive to me was the Phillies pitching against an offense with Bo Bichette, Vlad Guerrero Jr. Barger's been hitting the ball well. Alejandro Kirk, he's been hitting really well as a catcher. And the Phillies were able to slow their offense down. And Toronto was a really hot team coming into this. They're 7-3 in the last 10. They've turned their season around after struggling to start the year. And the Phillies pitching staff was able to slow them down and cool them off. And again, this team runs through the starting pitching. It's going to go as far as the starting pitching can carry this team. And you saw it here throughout this week. Through the struggles, they weren't clicking all cylinders. This week, they're getting a lot of zeros in innings, giving the offense a chance to get that lead, and then you had to protect the lead. And you saw that a lot in this Toronto series. You saw Wheeler in game three today. You got Toronto out on a zero through the first four innings. Phillies were able to open up a 4-0 lead. Blue Jays did strike first in the Saturday game, but Sanchez was able to limit it through the first four innings to only one run. So the Phillies did lead after the fourth inning. On Friday, Ranger Suarez zeroed obviously an 8-0 win. He zeroed them to a start. But again, starting out the game with a zero, allowing the offense to define its groove. They put up a four spot in the second inning thanks to a 3-run home run from Kyle Schwarber to take that 4-0 lead before the Phillies continued to extend the lead and run away with an 8-0 victory. So again, this Phillies team clicking on all cylinders this week. Obviously, coming home helps that out. See what they can do on the road. Thanks for listening to this episode of Philly Sports Now, recapping the Toronto Blue Jays series. Fantastic series victory and sweep. Phillies have won four straight, five of the last six now at home. Check us out later in the week for a Miami Marlins recap / New York Mets preview. Big series this weekend against the Mets. I'm looking forward to it. The Phillies obviously can't look too far ahead yet as you got to get through the Miami series. Go take 3 or 4 down there in Miami, and then hopefully you're able to bounce home and get this big series win against the Mets. Obviously, it did not go well the first time, getting swept to the Mets in New York, but then again, obviously that's a long time ago. Two different teams now. Mets just got swept to the Tampa Bay Rays, a team the Phillies beat already this year. So hopefully you see a lot of that same. So just a quick series preview for the Marlins. Um, just because we'll record probably Wednesday or Thursday, middle of that series. But for the Phillies, they go Mick Abel on the series opener night against Sandy Alcantara, who struggled this year. He's 3-7 with a 7.14 ERA. Mick Abel obviously coming off his first bad start of his major league career, so important to see a bounce back start there for Abel. On Tuesday, Jesus Luzardo, 6-2 with a 4.23 ERA. Obviously, he had those two tough starts, but comes back, gets a great start against the Chicago Cubs this week to find his groove again, and he'll be facing Cal Quantrill, who's 3-7 with a 5.61 ERA. Wednesday's going to be Ranger Suarez, 5-1 with a 2.32 ERA. Obviously, again, coming off a very good start against Toronto. Miami has yet to name their pitcher for Wednesday evening. And then on Thursday, to close out the series, the Phillies will go with Christopher Sanchez, and he will be opposed against Edward Cabrera for the Miami Marlins. So again, really, the Phillies have a chance. You look at these numbers on paper. I like every matchup the Phillies have had here, especially with the struggles Sandy Alcantara has had this year. That makes that one more equal there Monday night against the rookie Mick Abel. So again, that's gonna be your toughest one probably on paper, but hopefully you're able to find a way to get the job done. And again, road series in Miami, you get 4 games. You want to see this team take at least 3 against the Marlins, and then you come home against the Mets. But again, thanks for listening to another episode of Philly Sports Now. Big Phillies sweep this weekend over the Toronto Blue Jays. True team win. Pitching and offense came together. Check us out again later in the week. Go Phillies.